Hi, I'm Ken Jacobs, and welcome back to Taking the Lead, where we talk about leadership. Sometimes we talk about PR, sometimes we talk about the confluence of both. Sometimes we interview respected leaders, but today you just got me. And what I want to talk to you about is something I've been writing about and sharing about and blogging about lately, which is leading through uncertain times. And I think we have to acknowledge we are still in uncertain times, though, and I hope I'm not jinxing anything, things seem to be a little bit better. Let's hope so. But in the meantime, there are 7 things you can do as a leader to help lead your people more effectively. And my thoughts today are based on a guest post I did at Ginny Dietrich's Spin Sucks in late July of this year. So if you haven't read it, I hope you'll go to Spin Sucks after seeing this segment and take time and read it. And by the way, these are different points than we've made in our leadership ebook. So if you've downloaded that, but you thirst for more, here we go. And thank you for being here. Number one, as a leader, take good care of yourself. As we've said before, there's a reason that when you travel, there's a reason you put your air mask on yourself first before your traveling companions. So do the same. Take care of yourself first. You can only lift up your team if your cup is full. So that's number one. Number two, speaking of your team, speaking about the individuals whom you lead, tune into them now. These might be frightening times for them. And some of you, you lived through the downturn of 2008 and 9, so you're experienced. Some of you lived through the downturn of 2000. I certainly did. But this may be all new for them. So make sure you're connecting with them, have your sort of sensitivity antenna on, and see how they're doing, see how comfortable or uncomfortable they are in these days. And if they're uncomfortable, probe and get them talking about it. Number three, tune into your clients. And this is especially true of anyone who, as I was once, is in the PR or communications agency space. It might be uncertain for you. I don't want to say scary, but it's uncertain times. And obviously, if you've been following, it is still uncertain times for your agency clients, the marketers out there. So connect with them, find out what keeps them up at night, find out what they're worried about, because in doing so, you may be able to share a shoulder to cry on, maybe some ideas that they can use. And don't be afraid that if you go to your agent, you're on the agency side, and you go to your clients, that they're going to give you bad news. If they're going to give you bad news, they're going to give you bad news anyway. The sooner you find out, the better. So now is the time to be all over your clients and find out what's going on for them. To that end, be decisive. You may need to make some decisions, some challenging decisions, some tough decisions in the days ahead. Do not delay. Some people fall into, some leaders, analysis paralysis by analysis, not the other way around. And they somehow think that delaying decisions is somehow okay, but it's not. And delaying a decision is making a decision. And that's deciding that the status quo is okay. And during times like these, usually the status quo is not okay. Making the wrong decision, in my experience, is much better than delaying or not making a decision. So be decisive. To that end, trust your gut. Your gut is a very real thing. It is sort of the anatomical, biological manifestation of all your years of experience. And it warns you and it leads you. And sometimes we don't follow our gut, and that's just a big mistake. And if I can be very honest with you, and I always am in these things, when I look back at my career, especially on the agency side. I don't feel my judgment was wrong. I think if I made any mistakes, it was because I didn't follow my gut. My brain interceded and told me that I should ignore my gut. And that's always a mistake. Trust your gut. It will always, always, always serve you well. Get your game face on. While I'm a big believer in transparency, as you probably know, I think there is oversharing. And the one thing leaders must never share is when they're uncertain or afraid. That's too much sharing. And, it just creates dissonance for your followers. So if you have concerns about these days, share them with your spouse, share them with your business partner, share them with your dog, if you are a cat, I guess, if you have, share them with me. Reach out to me, KEN@JACOBSCOMM.com. Share it with me. I'm a good shoulder to lean on. Maybe I'll give you some good counsel, but do not share any fear, any uncertainty with your teams. It's just unsettling. And finally, trust yourself. You have been called to leadership. Well, you've either decided on a career in leadership, or perhaps you've been called to it, to be a leader in the summer of 2023. That's for a reason. That's because you're capable of leading now. You just have to trust yourself. I guess you don't have to. It's a choice you can make, and it's a choice I highly recommend. So those are 7 things you can do to lead through uncertainty. If you want to have me go a little deeper on these things, just look at the guest post at spinsucks.com. That's still up there. We've recently done a live cast on the topic, and I believe that will bring you value. You can find that in my LinkedIn feed. And of course, reach out to me, connect on LinkedIn. There are a lot of Ken Jacobs on LinkedIn, but I've got some initials after my name, starting with PCC. Reach out one way or the other. I'm happy to connect with you. And until next time, keep on taking the lead.